Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is November 28th, 2023. We are at the Olivet City Center, 1140 Dillman Road, and we are about to begin the Olivet City Council meeting. It is 7:01 p.m. and I will call for roll, please.
Chairman Pro Tem Waldman,
Here.
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Carl,
Here.
Councilmember Knox.
Here.
And the mayor is absent with cause and just. The next thing on the agenda is communications, Madam Clerk.
There are no written communications.
Next on the agenda is the city manager's report. Ms. Yackley, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. All right. So I have a few things to report this evening. First of all, on Thursday, we had this little thing called the Turkey Trot. And a few people came out to Stacy Park for the 10th annual Turkey Trot. I'm happy to say that we had 1,766 runners for the event. And the event raised $19,254 for the Harvey Kornblum Jewish Food Pantry. They're a local food pantry and they serve quite a few families within our region. And they have seen an increase in the number of folks coming for their services. So as you can see, it was fun for littles, bigs, four-legged friends. And then this is the group of folks that gave the check out. So it was a fun time had by all, I think. Upcoming events. So this Thursday is the big sort of reveal for the draft comprehensive plan recommendation. So this is what all of the public engagement has been leading up to. The planning staff and Shockey Consulting have taken all of the input that we've received since March, put it together, synthesized it, and they're putting forward draft recommendations. And this is the opportunity for the public to have that presented to them and then make comments. And you can make comments if you can't make it the 30th. We'd love to see you the 30th. It's here at the City Center from 6 to 8 p.m. If you can't make it on the 30th, you're welcome to continue to provide comments through about the middle of December. You can get them online. And then there will be a public hearing in January. I'm looking at Carl in January, which will again allow for the public to see it and provide additional commentary on the plan. So this is your opportunity to see what your colleagues and your neighbors have said about the future for Olivet, and then come out and see that and then make some comments and recommendations on that this Thursday. Also coming up, December 13th is a blood drive by the Red Cross. So that will be December 13th from 2 to 6 p.m. at 5 Oaks on Warson. So if you are able, please come out and contribute to that. Oh my gosh. And then we have a variety of charitable things going on this time of year, and the fire department is working with the Marine Toys for Tots, and there is a bin here at City Hall. There's also one, I think, at 5 Oaks on Warson. There's one at the Olivet Diner, and there's one at Revo Cup. And so we're asking individuals to bring new unwrapped toys to the Olivet City Center or any of those other drop-off locations now through December 12th, anytime during regular business hours. And please know that Toys for Tots, it's not just tots, right? It's also teens. They provide toys, gifts for kids up to about 17 years old. So not just the littles, but the teenagers as well would enjoy some Christmas gifts. So feel free to bring those unwrapped and new toys. And if you want to get something for our four-legged friends, the police department is working with the APA for their annual Cops for Pets. And so there's also a bin here at City Hall, City Center, and there's one up at Five Oaks, I believe, as well. And they can use all kinds of stuff from leashes to beds to cleaning supplies to food to um, long shredded paper, newspapers. They could use all kinds of things. So feel free to scan the QR code or find more information on the city's website about specifically what they're needing. And then news around town, we just want to remind everybody that the city's weekly newsletter, This Week in Olivet, goes out every week, and it provides a great opportunity for people to keep up with the things that are going on in Olivet. And so we would encourage everybody to sign up on the city's website to get that weekly newsletter. And then that's it until we get to staff reports.
All right, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions of the city manager? Okay. Moving on to city council reports, I'll move right to my left and ask my fellow council member, Councilmember Clark.
I have nothing to report at this time.
Councilmember Knox.
Yes, I just want to say that I was participated in the Olivet Turkey Trot. It was a great event. Saw a lot of friends, made a lot of friends. Saw a former city manager, Barb Sondag. And it was just a great event. I was glad we were able to pull this off, and wasn't raining or anything. Last time I participated, it rained a little bit. But one thing I decided that I'm going to start training before the turkey trot instead of after. I've been going to the gym every day since the turkey trot's been over. So that's all I've got to report.
It's almost like you're challenging me to have a partner to begin to work out, to walk and do the things you knew to get ready for next year. It was a wonderful event. Appreciate everything and everyone that participated, the volunteers over 10 years. Mr. Moons, who according to his own little subgroup really, rocked it and has done a wonderful job taking over and leading this after it was designed and ideated by a Springer brother to a local Springer brother here in St. Louis. It was fun. Miss Sondag finally got to run and win a medal. And so we're gonna do it double ones next year. All right. I have nothing further to report myself. We do have the comp plan coming up on Thursday, and I last reported on the last PCDC last meeting. So with that, we will move forward.
Oh, hey, what about me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Carl. I'm looking down the line here. Mr. Carl, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I don't have anything to report either. I was also at the Turkey Trot. I thought it was an excellent event this year. We owe those guys that put that together a lot. Especially it looked so good in the new park venue. So it just was amazing. I think we put a good face forward for Olivet. But since Jennifer is new, I'll ask her if she knows the history behind Ollie the turkey that was there.
I don't know if I know the history, but I know that it was the son of the owner of Auto Beauty Supply, and his dad started it, but his dad has since moved to Barnhart and does not choose to wake up super early to get there on a cold November morning, and has delegated that to Ollie Jr.
Okay, that's most of the story. I guess the only reason the original person started it was because his business was looking for a location to relocate, and we were so good to him that that's one of the things he did to repay us.
Well, that's good information to know.
Okay, so that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. I would like to challenge the city and Darren Mann to give us the total of 10 years worth of data of participation, food, and money raised. I think that would be a wonderful thing to blast out the success of for the 10 years. Thank you so much.
We'll
Next,
see what we can do.
great. I have total faith. Next we have staff reports. I just want to say the staff reports were very nice. They were very lovely. They were easy to read. They were informative, and it is much appreciated.
All right, so starting with the fire department, you may occasionally see a four-legged friend with the fire department. As part of their community outreach, they have partnered with the APA to they're bringing in adoptable shelter dogs for a day. So it gets the dog out of the shelter, out of the noise and the stress of being in the kennel all day. And it helps to socialize the dogs as they're around people. And so the fire department has started participating in this program through the APA to bring one dog a day. The crews can choose whether or not they participate in it. And so what you have here is one of the crews with Doc, and he was super cute, lovable dog. And they are, the fire department, as they're having the dogs over, are posting online on their Facebook page. Today, Dolores was here. And so they pick the dogs up in the morning, and then, you know, they spend the day with the dogs. If they get a call, the dog goes into its cage, and, you know, they go on a call. And then in the evening, they take the dog back to the shelter. So APA says it's a very successful program. It again helps the dogs with socialization and decreasing stress. So if you happen to see one of our firefighters walking a dog in the middle of the day, that's okay.
I have yet to see a dog perfectly posed like this dog.
He was awesome.
He's beautiful.
He's pretty cool.
I mean, that dog is posing just right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's the money shot.
All right, for Parks and Rec, we've had a lot of things going on for Parks and Rec. So first of all, we have new park signs that have been installed in all of the parks. So if you are driving by any one of the parks in the city and you see a new sign, this is why. This is an example of one of them. And if you go to Five Oaks, you can see the old park signs have been installed up on the walls. And then Weed Warriors is starting back up. So everyone is cordially invited to come either December 9th, January 13th, February 10th, or March 9th, 9 to 11 to come help maintain various parks throughout the city. And then lastly, for the month of November, they were able to reinstall the Veterans Memorial Stone at the park right across the street here at Dealman and Olive before Memorial Day. And so the stone went back in. There were some repairs to the solar light that went in. So they are continuing to make needed repairs and improvements to that Veterans Park right there. Planning. We have a new permit clerk. So you may remember last month we said goodbye to Rose. She'd been with us for 30 years, I think. And so Eric Dornheim is going to have some pretty big shoes to fill, but we are going to welcome him on December 4th. So if you come in and there's a new person at the desk, please say hello to Eric and be kind as he's learning that there are a lot of things, a lot of knowledge that goes into that position. The police department, as you can see here in this photo, we have Lieutenant Wood and Officer Bagsby. We are welcoming Jacob Piskewicz, this young man right here. He is a recent graduate from the police academy. He has started with us. He started this month, and he will be at the December 12th meeting to have his official introduction to the council and his ceremonial swearing in. So if you happen to see Jacob out with his training officers, and he was at Turkey Trot on Thursday, say hello. And then last but not least is Public Works. The Dealman Trail, which is the trail just north here of the city center, is about 95% complete from Burns and Jones. And then we received today the notice to proceed for the TAP grant, which is to construct that next leg of the Centennial Greenway, which will actually connect Dealman Trail through Indian Meadows Park to Five Oaks and Warson Park. So we've been given that notice to proceed, and we will be doing the things that we need to do to get that underway. And last but not least, we have upcoming meetings. And then if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Greg, do you have any questions?
I do not.
My fellow council members? I do have one, if you can go back to the picture just before this one. So in the past, I've been told the pathway is not done. When I would ask about the water runoff that would create ice frozen ponds on the side of where this pathway is. And I was told that it hadn't yet been finished and properly graded. Has that been properly finished in grading to where water runoff doesn't pond in various locations of this pathway?
So this comes from Bruce's staff report that he would have turned in on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. So I suspect that Burns and Jones has not been out over the Thanksgiving holiday to do that yet. Now, they may have come yesterday. I wasn't here, but I would expect maybe not.
All right, thank you very much. We shall move on to item number 6, the monthly financial report, and I'm assuming it's Mr. Mann.
Good evening, Pro Tem and council members. My name is Darren Mann, and I'm the finance director for the city. And the amount you're looking for, $110,000, $110,405 is the amount we've given to the Harvey Kornblum Center for over the last 10 years. $110,405. Okay, so if we look at our year to date up to October, which is those 4 months, not a whole lot to report. The revenue is down below where we thought it, about 387,000, and expenditures ended down about 345,000. If we were to go to page 4, we'll skip through a couple of this stuff, but you can see the revenues up there at the top in white, and you can't see them terribly well, but you can see the far right column is very small numbers with a couple larger numbers there at the Parks and Rec, and that's because the community center hadn't opened up to this point. The only numbers you would see in there are registrations for probably the end of soccer and then basketball registration. So we had expected that, of course, that center to open in July, so it's behind. And then similarly, if we were to go down maybe one page, you'd see that the Parks and Rec department is behind to the tune of $350,000, and so $120,000. So kind of correlating together about where we're at with we expected the community center to open, and it didn't. So the other numbers, go back one page if you would. They're all really close to where we thought for a budget, and so that's why there's not much to report. The reserve policy is well in compliance. And then I'm sorry to make you jump around, but could we go up one more? We can sneak peek at next month's sales tax numbers. We're looking at the orange line that kind of runs right through the middle of all this. And then we can see in November, which is beyond our October report, that we have our best month of November either, which still goes to kind of prove we cannot tell what happens in any month, but over time we can definitely see things moderate out for the most part, usually. So with that, I'll open up to any questions, but again, not much to report.
Greg, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, with that, Mr. Mann, thank you very much for that wonderful report and your charting. Good to see that orange line going up this year. Next, number 7 is hearing from citizens. I do have one card. I will call on that card first if there's anyone else in attendance. I don't see any for attendees. Ms. Fran Reisler? Please make sure you address your name, address, and make sure the mic is on so I can hear you. Thank you.
I'm Fran Reisler. I live at 703 Wayfield. I'm a 50-year resident. The Wayfield is off of Villa, and it is south and east of Villa Park. And the reason I'm here is because they redid Villa Park very nicely, but they left off benches for people like me who walk their dogs and need a place to sit down when they get to the park. I called the Parks Department starting in August when the park was supposedly finished or almost finished, and requested a bench by the southeast entrance to the park. They were very nice. And they said they would look, it was a problem looking for a bench. They had certain requirements, they would get back to me. So I didn't hear from them, and about 3 weeks later in September, I called and they told me, well, we have to have a certain kind of bench and we have to have a concrete pad underneath it. And we're working on it. So I didn't hear from them again. And come October, I called them and they said, oh, we're busy with the new city civic center. And we're looking for a bench. We'll get back to you. Well, then came November and they said, well, we found a bench and we redid the wood on it, but we're busy with the civic center and we'll get to it when we get to it. So I thought originally the excuses were reasonable, but too many excuses, they're not reasonable. And I don't know what their problem is or what the issue is, that they don't want to put a bench there for people like me to sit down when they get to the park. But I request that the city council look into it. That's why I'm here.
All right, thank you very much for coming up here and sharing your thoughts with us. I am sure I will turn to my right here and the city manager will be looking into the situation and eventually getting a bench over there for you to be able to sit at. Is there anything you'd like to?
No, we'll
Okay.
look at it.
Great, okay, super. All right, as my mother would say, so noted. Thank you so much. All right, I see nobody else with regards to hearing from citizens. We will go to item number 8, bill number 301. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, you didn't fill out a card and I didn't look up and see the hand. Come on. You need to fill out a card before you leave. That's all right. That's okay. You're fine.
My name is Tom Walk. I'm a resident of Basswood Lane. I'm enjoying the community center. Before I forget, I need to say the flag in Morrison Park needs a light. I'm enjoying the community center and I like walking through the park there, and the lighting through the whole park could be better. It's not very welcoming for people walking or on bicycles. It's the parking lot is pretty accessible for car drivers, but you have there's a whole neighborhood there, and it's going to be great when that trail is connected. I've walked through most of it. The hardest part is getting through that last connecting the park on Riverty Pear into the park behind the community center. I'm looking forward to seeing how that's connected. And hopefully it'll be connected to neighborhoods so it'll be more accessible for people walking into the community center. But lighting could still be better in the park, but definitely the light on the flagpole needs to be on the flag needs to be taken care of. I think that's all I want to say. I'm enjoying all the trails. I've been using the Dealman Trail. We use the Stacy Park trails. I would like to come to Turkey Trot, but I'm never up at 8:30 on Thanksgiving Day. So but I'm glad it's going well. And thank you so much for hearing from me.
All right, sir, thank you very much. Your concerns are so noted, and I'm glad to see that you are enjoying our walkways. I will be mindful and look up. All right, with that, I don't believe there's anyone else for hearing from citizens. I will move to item number 8, bill number 3016. Madam Clerk,
Bill number 3016, an ordinance to approve a final subdivision plat titled 595 Dealman Road, second reading.
very much. Mr. Trejo, good evening.
Good evening, Chairman Pro Tem, members of the council. My name is Carlos Trejo, and I am the Director of Planning and Community Development for the City of Olivet. And tonight before you is Bill 3016, which essentially authorizes the city clerk to sign a final subdivision plat for a 3-lot subdivision of the property address is 595 Dealman Road. And there, this is a procedural process. In order for the plat to be recorded, the city clerk has to be authorized by the council. And there, the purpose of the recording is to meet the minimum state statute requirements for the recording of the plat itself. Now, the commission has reviewed the 3-lot subdivision and has made an assessment in accordance with our chapter 405, our subdivision regulations, has evaluated that plat in terms of how it impacts land, the surrounding areas, the neighborhood, the character and such, and has recommended its approval, and then is forwarding the subdivision plat for the council to review. I'll be glad to answer any specific questions. I'll note a couple of things that the commission discussed during the plat process. One was regarding the consideration of the trees on the property and making an assessment before they're removed. The other thing was preparing and accessing a easement to be able to get residents from the White Rose and Bonham Forest neighborhood to access the bike trail to the north. Of course, those trails can't be built unless easements are provided or as conditions of approval such as this. So this will help the interconnectivity of neighborhoods and improve walking environments to get to the city's trail system and ultimately to the parks. So Mayor, I'll be glad, Chairman, I'd be glad to answer any specific questions. If not, I do have a representative here if there are any questions for the developer. But again, this is a procedural process to get the plat recorded.
Are there any questions? Councilmember Carl, any questions?
I do not.
Okay, thank you very much. The gentleman has been here. The gentleman came to various planning community design commission meetings. He heard what they had to say. He worked things out. I'm very grateful for that. And my only one question, only because it's happened before, not because I think it's what you're gonna do. We deal with the subdivision plot. Then the whole thing gets sold without any building on it. They sell the land, they sell the plot, they sell the subdivision plot. What would be recommended or what has been heard by this gentleman will be shared with, should he sell these lots with whoever purchased the lots?
It's a good question. The easement is perpetual, so that's recorded within the final plat. So there's no consideration or renegotiation of that unless it comes back for full review and approval. So that is set. The process for the tree considerations on there are part of the code to be considered. There are no regulations to say that they must have or should have and such, but through our process in the single family residential reviews, that's what the process is set up to do, and that's where they would be evaluated or assessed. There are a couple of things to make sure the council understands in the preservation of trees that are healthy and will provide, some long-lasting benefits to our community. And then there are trees that are not healthy, trees that may impact the public safety and such that will be removed in there. And those are assessed through administrative processes that we have in hand in there. We don't have a tree preservation ordinance, but we have the flexibility to work with developers and take those into account as directed by the council or the commissions.
All right, thank you very much. With that on the record for the public, I appreciate it. I will ask for a motion if there's no further questions.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve Bill 3016, an ordinance to approve a final subdivision plat titled 595 Dealman Road.
Second.
So moved, motioned and seconded. Please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Knox.
Yes.
Councilmember Carl.
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Waldman.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Thank you, Chairman.
Item number 9, bill number 3017, fee ordinance update, second reading. Good evening, Ms. Tucker Knight.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This evening, we have before you the second reading for a proposed bill that would amend the city ordinance regarding program fees for recreation, parks and recreation programs. And since this is the second reading, I have a little bit of a presentation for you to sort of bring us along how we got to where we are today. So this evening, we're going to be looking at a continuation of the fee process we started in 2015 to modernize and update all of our various park ordinances and fees. So next slide, please. So in 2015, we started a long process to update many of our policies and fees in the Parks and Recreation Department. And we established a process with our very first analysis of these, and we decided to pick low-hanging fruit first. So the first thing we did was assess our pavilion fees. And we figured out what does it cost to provide those pavilions with staffing, with cleaning, with maintenance, how many people were using them, what were our current policies. We did cost comparisons with other cities. And then the findings were brought to the Parks and Recreation Commission. And I should say the park commissioners actually were involved in a lot of that research. We did a lot of review and discussion and refinement, and then they forwarded a recommendation to the city council. That process worked really well. So we've continued that as we've gone through and updated fees on almost every year we've done a fee. So next slide, please. So just to give you a reminder of our progress so far, so we updated the pavilion user fees and policies in 2015. In 2016, we updated the former community center use policies and fees. In 2017, we addressed the new community rooms that were added in this beautiful facility. Then in 2022, we amended the pavilion fees to add Indian Meadows Park with policies and use fees there. And then through 2022 and into 2023, we worked on the program fees, membership fees, and rental rates for the new Five Oaks on Warson Community Center. Then in the beginning of 2023, we addressed free user policy. So remember I said we started with low-hanging fruit. We're starting to get into much more complex ones. Free users, that was a tough policy. There was a lot of discussion with the Parks and Recreation Commission and again with the City Council. And now this evening, we are on the second reading with a program fee policy update. Again, a more complex process. Next slide, please. So other things we're working on to kind of give you a little foreshadowing. The Parks and Recreation Commission has on their work plan for the coming year to look at our field rental rates. And then we also have introduced an annual fee and policy review with the Parks and Recreation staff working with small groups on the Parks and Recreation Commission, as well as the staff that work in those programs to provide an annual review of those programs. So in October, we gave our first one, and that was for the pavilions. And we really did a deeper look at it because the pavilion at Stacy had been renovated and looking at all of the impacts of that and how that impacted operations. So recommendations went to the commission on that. Then in October, they also looked at the item before you tonight, the program fee revision. In November, they were slated to look at summer camp. That meeting was canceled, so they will be doing that in December. Then youth sports are in January. And then the Five Oaks 6-month check-in is in April. And then we'll do again the 1 year in October. Next slide, please. So a reminder that this is the program fee statement we adopted when we embarked on setting the program fees for Five Oaks on Warson. And it's a really good reminder for all of our program fees. And that is that no matter how we go through our fee policy discussions, we stay true to our mission to create community through people, parks, and programs. And that our goal is to provide quality, relevant programs. And no matter how the program fees and policies evolve, we want to keep that in mind. And again, our fees are ongoing. They are evolving. Costs change, personnel costs change, supply costs change, and then our programs themselves change. So no matter where we are in our fee policy programming or policy setting, we know that it will change. It's more of a living document, an ongoing process. Next slide, please. So the section we're dealing with tonight is section 240.080, which is programs and classes. And the beginning part of this is a authorization for the city manager from time to time to set program classes, establish fees. And then it's followed by a very complex chart that individually identifies programs with a fee to charge. So this is a model that was very popular in the 70s and 80s in Parks and Recreation. And it's really fallen out of favor with having a more nimble response and really looking at more regularly, what are our true costs? What are our true offerings to our constituents? And what cost recovery are we trying to accomplish? So we'll find as you look around at the cities around us, they no longer include these charts in the city ordinance, but they look at them on a more annual basis. Next slide, please. So the proposal would be to eliminate the chart itself, but to retain the core mission, the core message of this, which is that continuing the city manager's authorization to establish the actual fees for recreation activities, programs, special events, and facilities. So it's retaining that language, but eliminating the detailed chart. So how does that impact us in our operations moving forward? So next slide, please. So it takes us back to that annual program review. This really gives us an opportunity to discuss these fees more frequently on a more regular basis and to follow the guideline we set up with the Parks and Recreation Commission. So we will continue to do annual program review for these core service areas of youth sports, adult programming, special events, pavilions, and our rental program. So this again would look at participation rates, who's using it, what are our demographics, what revenues coming in from these fees, and what are our direct expenditures. And I want to focus on that just for a minute. These are direct expenditures, which means our direct operating expenses. It doesn't go into the indirect overhead or long-term replacement, but it really focuses on what's the annual budget, what are our true expenditures from that perspective. Then also, what are we hearing from our participants? How are they viewing the programs that we're offering from a customer service standpoint, from content, and then is there something new that they want? Then that is all encompassed into a program evaluation presented by the staff that actually supervise that program. And then what are the recommendations for the coming year? And that gives an opportunity for the staff and the Parks and Rec Commission to have a two-way conversation about it and to really come forward with a good understanding of what we're doing moving into the establishing the budget for the coming year. Next slide, please. So this evening, I'm asking for a recommendation to approve the proposed changes. And this is I should have put the bill number in there. I apologize, but it would be a motion to approve bill number 3017 to approving the proposed changes to chapter 240.080. And I am very happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anybody have any questions of Ms. Tucker Knight? Mr. Carl?
Oh, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, the photographs are absolutely beautiful of this new community center. That's all I can say. It's just stunningly beautiful. With that, the motion has been put up on our screens. I will entertain a motion.
Madam Pro Tem, I make a motion to approve Bill 3017 an ordinance repealing and replacing chapter 240.080 of the municipal code.
Second.
So moved and seconded, please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Knox,
Yes,
Councilmember Carl,
Yes,
Chairman Pro Tem Waldman.
Yes.
Motion is passed and this becomes ordinance number 2787.
All right, thank you very much. And would like to congratulate you all for our first sold out event at the new Five Oaks on Warson, the cheese and wine event. And it's exciting to see those sold out banners on
It's
that.
very exciting. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have hearing from citizens, part 2. All right, no one in the audience and no one that is online, so we will move on to item number 11, the review and approval of minutes. I didn't see any, but I will turn to my fellow peers.
no,
no,
All right, I will entertain a motion to accept the review and meeting minutes.
Madam Mayor.
oh, go ahead.
Madam Mayor, I would like to make a recommendation that we accept the minutes as written.
second,
So moved and seconded. We do not need to poll the council, correct? We just recognize.
accepting the minutes. You can do that.
yeah,
Please poll the council.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Councilmember Knox.
yes,
Councilmember Carl,
Yes,
Chairman Pro Tem Waldman.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Item number 12, our esteemed city attorney, Mr. Martin.
Madam Chair, I have no report and no need for a closed session this evening.
That's very good. Thank you so much. With that, we're at item number 13, lucky 13 for adjournment. I will entertain a motion.
so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. City council meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Hopefully y'all come on Thursday.